Hi everybody and welcome again to Isolation Station. This is the antisocial distancing podcast and it is on day, today I ate my whole weight in ice cream of the podcast, and we're joined today by everybody's favourite G7 student called Pablo Miñano. It's Pablo Miñano!
I don't know. I think I don't call Pablo Miñano. I know.
Oh, well, according to my register, that is your name. So Pablo, how are you?
Good.
How have you been surviving the quarantine?
Good, but I'm kind of crazy now because I'm in the same room with my brother, and it's difficult.
I can imagine it would be. What would you say that the weirdest thing you've done in the quarantine has been?
I don't know, like moving with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be that.
Possibly. So Pablo, something that is very interesting about this is that you actually asked me if you could be on the podcast.
And other people ask you to be on the podcast or only me?
I mean, without shredding all the secrets, you are the first person that has asked me. But I mean, if you would like to be on the podcast, if anybody else wants to be on the podcast, we're very welcoming. Sometimes our guests don't show up for 1 week and we have to do it the week later, but that's fine.
Yeah, sometimes. Like, this is not my second time here. No,
it wouldn't be. But anyway, I mean, that's absolutely fine. We're recording now, better late than ever, and we're really happy to have you on the podcast, Pablo.
Okay.
So, lots of people, Pablo, have favourite opening lines in books, right? One of my favourites is the opening to Pride and Prejudice. It's a long one, so I won't tell you what it is now. One of the opening lines that stick in my head personally is from, I won't tell you the book, but I'll tell you the opening line. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say they were perfectly normal, thank you very much. I mean, now obviously, from that
it's
opening
from
line,
Harry Potter.
Obviously, everyone knows it's from Harry Potter. And I think Harry Potter is one of the things that connects people from all around the world. We've got people that are old and people that are young, girls and boys, 28, 29-year-old English teachers at Montessori International College, and 12-year-old...
My grandpa likes Harry Potter. My grandpa.
You know, exactly. Everyone loves Harry Potter. And something that is obviously sad is that we and a group of other people were going to go to London in April, and we were going to visit Harry Potter World.
And also London is like full of Harry Potter things.
Exactly. So I thought, what better way than to connect you on the podcast and I was thinking about what are our collective interests and what things does everybody like, and I thought Harry Potter would be a fantastic topic to talk about. So we've got a couple of questions. I mean, it's no secret that I also very much like Harry Potter. So we're going to talk a little bit about our favourite bits of Harry Potter. And then at the end, we're going to talk about what houses we think people would be in from Mick. Right?
Okay.
So, my first question, and I mean, I think it's a reasonable question to ask. When did you, Pablo, realise that you were a Harry Potter fan?
Yeah, I have a cousin that her name is Michelle, and he's a big Harry Potter fan, and he showed me all things about Harry Potter, and I love it.
So what were some of the things that she showed you?
She showed me some parts of the film, like some scenes, and I think I need to see that completely.
Oh, fantastic!
We need to do it. No.
Well, I mean, I remember when when I was a kid, I wasn't quite the same age as Harry Potter when all the books came out. I was a little bit younger than Harry Potter, but I was about your age when book number 3 came out. And I remember that I decided to queue up outside of the bookshop to buy one of the first copies of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And I got it home, and it was I was so excited to read it. And I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday. And I read it, and I really wanted to finish it. And I was really annoyed that I had to go to sleep. And I read it, and then when I woke up, I think it was a Sunday because I had to go to school. And on the Monday, I went to school, and my friend had already read the book, and he spoiled the book for me. And I have not forgiven my friend for doing that.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
It is awful. What a terrible friend. But
Yeah.
I mean, personally,
You were reading, and he came there like he finished like that and like that and like that. He's bad.
well, exactly. I mean, I think that what's worse than the fact he spoiled the book for me was that he finished it before me. Anyway, so Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, even though it was spoiled, is personally one of my favorite books. And I would say that my favorite moment in that book is when, spoilers, I'll be like my friend from all those years ago, is when you find out that all of the times that Harry Potter has seen the Grim, and all of these stories about Sirius Black that you hear are not true. And we're in the Shrieking Shack, and Sirius Black is this demented man with crazy hair, and then the Harry, Ron, and Hermione's favorite teacher, Lupin, comes in, and they both tell them the real story. And I think that personally, I would say that is one of my favorite moments in the Harry Potter books and the films, to be honest, because I think that what's lovely about Harry Potter is when, ultimately Harry Potter, they're mystery books, right? There's a mystery to solve. And I think it's definitely the biggest twist in the Harry Potter books, that the mystery is that it turns out that the villain is not the villain.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Pablo, is your favorite moment from the Harry Potter books and obviously the films?
I think my favorite moments of Harry Potter books and films is when like Harry like discovers that he's not made from the normal world people, that he needs to go to Hogwarts because he's different.
Mm-hmm. So specifically when Hagrid walks in.
Yeah, explicitly.
I think that's a great moment, and actually one of the moments that I think that it's slightly better in the film, because I think in the book there's only so much that writing on the page can tell you about this gigantic man, and then you see Hagrid in the movies stooping under this door, and it's amazing. So you would think then that the first book is your favorite, but you told me that your first book isn't your favorite. What's your favorite book?
Chamber of Secrets.
And why would you say that Chamber of Secrets is your favorite book?
I don't know. I think it's only my favorite, but I don't know how the ending works. It gives me a vibe like
I mean, absolutely. And I think the Chamber of Secrets, going back to when we say that Harry Potter is a mystery book, I think that the Chamber of Secrets is definitely the first book where it was obviously there was a mystery. Because in the first book, there was no, I mean, what is in the chamber, what is in the third floor corridor is obviously a big one. But everyone, like from the beginning until almost the very end, Snape was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. And in Chamber of Secrets, nobody knew who the bad guy was.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you. I think that a lot of people don't like the Chamber of Secrets, and they think it's a little bit boring, and it's a little bit sort of. But I agree with you. I think Chamber of Secrets is a very good part of the series.
It's a very good book. Yeah.
I do think it's interesting though that the bad person in all of the Harry Potter books always waits until the end of the year to do their bad plan.
Yeah, to do the bad things.
If they decided to do the bad thing during the summer holidays, they'd be fine. They'd do it.
Oh.
Anyway.
But I don't know why.
No. And so, moving on from your favourite book, who would you say is your favourite character?
Hermione and Luna Lovegood.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about them.
Hermione, because he's like so intelligent and always knew the things, and if he don't know, he investigate.
Mm-hmm.
And Luna Lovegood because she's like crazy and like extravagant, but when she needs to do the things that he is simple, he do it simple.
Do you see yourself in the characters, or do you think that the characters are your favourites for other reasons?
In Hermione, yes. In Luna Lovegood, a little bit, because I'm crazy. I need to say it.
You said it, not me, Pablo.
I think you think so, but...
So, Pablo, before we started recording, you asked me an absolutely excellent question. And now I'm going to steal your question, and I'm going to ask you.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, but you can ask me the same question afterwards. But I'm going to pretend it's my question, and pretend that I'm the clever one that came up with this wonderful question. So, in the Harry Potter universe, to get rid of the Dementors, you have to cast a Patronus charm, and to conjure the best Patronus charm, you have to think of the happiest memory that you can think of, right? So, the obvious question that I came up with that you didn't think of is, Pablo, what memory would you think of when you're casting the Patronus charm?
I was think in a moment when I was 5 years old or 6 years old, I don't remember very well. I go to the municipal theater to sing like a solo of the song Mamma Mia, and I was like I'm so excited because my dream is like to sing in together with a lot of people because I love to sing.
Excellent. Have you gone back to the theatre to sing?
No.
No. Well, maybe after the quarantine, we'll try and hopefully that will be your aim for the future.
And I will ask you the same thing. What do you do to devote your Patronus?
So it's a very interesting question, and I have a real answer, and then I have an answer which I should give. So the answer that I should give is obviously my wedding day when I got married. Obviously, that's the happiest moment of my life. But don't tell anybody. But in reality, it was my birthday last year. So my birthday last year, obviously my wife was included. She was also there. But all of my friends came, and nobody was late. And that was a miracle, because every time that I talk with my friends and I gather somewhere, somebody is always late. Nobody was late, and we had a lovely evening. We played some games. We talked for a long time, and honestly, it was one of the happiest memories that I can think of, at least recently. Obviously, there's a lot from when I was a child, but that's probably my happiest. But in reality, because I know that my wife listens to the podcast, I'm going to say my wedding day.
Okay, that's good. I have another question for you, but it's not about Harry Potter.
Okay.
It's about how do you think to do a podcast? How do you think to do like installation station?
It's a very good question, a very interesting question. So, again, it's something else that people think it's my idea, just like your question, but it didn't begin as my idea. So about 2 or 3 weeks before the first episode of Isolation Station, Miss Rocio asked me that Mick and Upper School were considering doing a radio show. And because when I was in England at school and at university, I have some experience doing radio. So at my school, we were lucky enough to have our own radio station, and I had a program on that every week. And when I was at university, I also had a radio show. Because I had that experience, they said, Mr. George, you would be the best person to do this radio show, which then, because it's difficult to do something live, we decided we would do a podcast. And so that is how Isolation Station began. And actually, the reason why at the beginning I say Isolation Station, the antisocial distancing podcast, is because I had two ideas for the name of the show and I couldn't decide which one was better. So I have them both.
Oh.
So going back to Harry Potter, I just thought of another question, and this one is my question. Similar to the memory for you to conjure your Patronus, as we've discussed, my favourite book, there's something in a wardrobe, and it's a boggart. And whenever you see the boggart, it turns into the thing you're most afraid of.
Okay.
Right? And then you say ridiculous, and then it turns into something hilarious. So I've got two parts to this question. It's very much a mathematical question with a part A and a part B. But my part A of the question is, what would the boggart transform into? And then part B is, what would that thing become when you say ridiculous?
Okay, what would be mad afraid of?
So what's the thing that you're most afraid of?
Okay, I think it will be like, I don't know, like that my mom died or something like that.
Okay. I mean,
because she has a lot of like allergies and he like always like is bad. That's why.
Okay, and then if then you say ridiculous, what would the good thing to come out of it?
I don't know, like an elephant in doo-doo.
Okay, sure. I mean, that is something quite ridiculous. Personally, I hate clowns. I think clowns are the worst thing, and there's no good that comes from a clown.
No, there's good things for a clown.
Name one.
The balloon dogs, the balloon animals.
Yeah, but you don't have to be. I mean, anybody can make a balloon dog. It doesn't have to be a clown.
I don't know, the pranks, like the flower here.
Right.
And the red
I mean,
nose.
they're just annoying. Anyway, I have a friend actually that is training to be a clown, and it is very difficult not to tell her that she should just stop when she's around me, because I will be really afraid. But anyway, so that would be what my boggart would transform into, and the ridiculous part would be literally anything else.
But literally anything else.
Literally anything else. I'm not afraid of anything else. It's just clowns.
Just clowns?
Just clowns. Nah, I mean, there's a few things, but the main thing
And
that is
why?
in the world.
And why are you afraid of clowns? I don't know.
Well, it's a good question. I think that when I was a kid, what I didn't like is I didn't like the idea of the painted face with the painted smile, because when I was a kid, I didn't know what the clown was really thinking, right? Because it's painted on this big smile, but you don't know if that person's really smiling.
That's like for a movie, like Kid el Payaso, like.
I mean, right, exactly. But I also, I mean, there's a couple of other things when I was a kid that I was afraid of, but the one thing that stayed with me is definitely the clown.
Okay.
So the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is houses, Harry Potter houses, right? And I have a bit of a problem with Harry Potter houses, and I've talked to you about it. My problem with Harry Potter houses is that all of the bad people are in Slytherin, and I don't think it's very fair because the ideas of each house in Harry Potter are all, there's no bad things, the attributes that people have in each house. So Gryffindor, right? People in Gryffindor are
Like brave, like so brave.
exactly.
Oh.
People in Hufflepuff are kind and
Oh
loyal.
yeah.
Exactly. People in Ravenclaw love knowledge and love to study and love to be more exactly. And people in Slytherin are dedicated and driven and ambitious. Right?
Well.
But none of those things are bad unless they're taken to an exaggerated situation.
Yeah, because in the books and movies, like the people who are Slytherin, like can like kill somebody, they will be the best, and that's
Well,
why
yeah, I mean,
they say.
Hermione in the books wants to be the best as well. Harry Potter is really competitive at Quidditch, right? And the fact that all of the bad people in the books, except one person, are from Slytherin, I don't think is very fair. And I think what we need to do is we need to reclaim Slytherin for good people. And so I want to give you a list of some people from Mick, and I want you to tell me what houses you think they're in. And if you say Slytherin, I want you to tell me why, and they're going to be positive because Slytherin is good.
Yeah, I only want to say that if some teacher that he mentioned it is here, I'm sorry, please.
But don't apologize because Slytherin is good.
Okay.
Okay. So 4 teachers. The first teacher that I want you're going to be the sorting hat. So the first teacher that's coming to the sorting hat is Miss Elizabeth. What house do you think Miss Elizabeth should go into?
Gryffindor.
Okay. Why do you think Miss Elizabeth should be in Gryffindor?
Gryffindor or Ravenclaw? Because he's brave and like wants to be the best, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. And Ravenclaw because she's so intelligent and always like seeing more knowledge.
Absolutely. What about Mr. Robert?
Hufflepuff.
Okay, why Hufflepuff?
Because he's kind and loyal and he's such a good person.
And you were saying that one of the things that you think that Hufflepuff have an ability is that anyone can really talk to them and feel comfortable talking to those people, right?
Yeah. I'm Hufflepuff.
You're a Hufflepuff. I mean, what about Mr. Jorge Torres?
He can be 2. He can be 2. He can be or Ravenclaw or Slytherin.
Okay, why would you say that?
Ravenclaw because he's intelligent and he always like searching for new things, and Slytherin because like he's like he always want to be like the best in things that he do, like, but in a good way.
Absolutely.
Like only to be good. Like to if I will say you something, I need to know about the team to say you something.
Absolutely. And I think something else that I think that, I mean, lots of teachers at Mick fit into the Slytherin category is that we want our students to be the best as well. Okay, and then finally, please get this right. Me, what house, sorting hat, do you think I should be in?
Yeah. I know what house are you, but I think you can be a Hufflepuff.
Okay, why do you think I should be in Hufflepuff?
Because you're a fine person. Like you're such a good person. You're so loyal and you're funny and
Oh, stop it!
good.
I'm blushing. But I do disagree. So when I was younger, and I think anyone that reads the Harry Potter books, they want to be in Gryffindor because that's where Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And also
I
because
never wanted to be in Gryffindor.
okay, well you might be the only person, but especially because I had ginger hair and because I had glasses, when all the time when I was at school, people called me a combination of Ron and Harry. And so I thought, well, I mean, I'm obviously in Gryffindor.
Like that, like Ron and Harry. Like
Exactly, that's me
like
with
a
a beard.
combination. Yeah.
But after thinking about it for a little bit longer, and this might be just that I would prefer to be in this house, but I would consider myself to be a bit more of a Ravenclaw. I and it's difficult to explain why I think I should be in Ravenclaw without sounding very big-headed. But I think I really enjoy reading and getting more knowledge, and I think that that's a really important aspect of life. But I will say thank you very much for the explanation of Hufflepuff, and I will think about Hufflepuff again because I think some people think of Hufflepuff to be sort of the boring house. So you have Gryffindor to be like the good house. Ravenclaw is the smart house. Hufflepuff is the boring house, and Slytherin is the bad house. But obviously, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
No. So finally, one of the things that you were saying that one of the things you really like now is you like the Fantastic Beasts series.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Why do you like the Fantastic Beasts series?
first, I will say something, but it's like some people I think they would be disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I think Grindelwald is like better, but like I don't know how to say it. It's like a negation. Is better than than Voldemort.
Okay, what a fantastic fan you are.
It's a better villain than Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would you say that Grindelwald is a better villain than Voldemort?
I don't know. Like Voldemort attacks were so like easy to think and like predictable, but Grindelwald is not so much predictable. He do things that you don't expect to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you might have. So personally, I don't enjoy Fantastic Beasts as much as I enjoy Harry Potter. But when you said that, I might have to have a look at it again because there's something interesting that you're saying in that. Okay, well, thank you very much for this conversation, Pablo. I found it very interesting to talk about Harry Potter and to talk about something that I haven't been well, to put it in an easier way. When I read Harry Potter, it definitely takes me back to feeling like that 12-year-old boy trying to read Prisoner of Azkaban as quickly as possible. So thank you very much for this conversation.
Yeah.
And well, fingers crossed that we'll get to go to London and you'll get to go and visit Harry Potter World.
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, well, thank you all for watching and for listening. We'll be back next week with another special guest. If you would like to appear on Isolation Station, or if you want us to talk about any topics, or if you want to nominate any guests to be on, let us know. Send a message to the Mick Instagram page, or send me an email. You can probably ask Pablo for my email. That's how he asked to be on the podcast. But anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.